Stay tuned for the latest in high-tech tackle and game-changing lures for your four-season fishing success. This is your Angling Connection, the pro's choice.
Hey, this is Mike Mahanic with the Pro's Choice, your Angling Connection, and we're over at the St. Croix booth, and with an old friend of mine, Jesse Simpkins. Jesse, you guys always have some award-winning products, but you've got a line of glass rods that seems to be expanding. Talk a little bit about the latest.
Absolutely. You know, St. Croix kind of made glass sexy again about 3 years ago with the provision of the Legend glass rods. And they were wonderful. Linear S-glass, right? The best componentry, really dialed into crankbaits and how you present them, and then being able to keep those fish buttoned up once they're locked into the hook.
Yeah.
Well, what we saw is that people really loved them, but we wanted to make them a little bit more approachable. So we looked towards the Mojo bass line. The Mojo bass line's been expanding for us every single year, and so we developed and introduced for 2020 the Mojo Bass glass line. And that's what we have here to do it for. There's 4 SKUs, 4 crankbait, 1 spinning. They go from a medium heavy moderate to a heavy moderate action, and they're just wonderful. Depending on the style of crankbait or bait that you're throwing, the technique can be derived from any one of those 5 SKUs. My favorite by far,
Tell me.
7.2 heavy moderate, all right? This is what we call our rip and chatter rod. It's great for crankbaits. You know, you get into lakes like Guntersville or anywhere there's some cabbage, and you're getting those baits to dive to 6, 7 feet, and you get those tops of the grass. You need something with a little bit more of a butt end, and this heavy moderate action will be great. You can rip that bait right out of there, and those fish will come up and smack it right afterwards. What we also found out though, is this exact same action is great for a 1/2 ounce chatterbait, up to a 1/2 ounce chatterbait, and then a whopper plopper. Believe it or not, this glass rod, when you present that bait in that moving plopper style, not a popper style, but a plopper style topwater, is remarkable. It's just like fishing a frog. You see the strike, you wait to feel it, and then you get into it and you load it up, and it's outstanding. We made them very approachable. It's $140 to $160 retail, and people absolutely love them.
Now, the crankbait fishing really has always been kind of the domain for glass rods. The different models you have, if you're fishing, say, shallow water, lighter crankbaits versus larger ones, what are the models you would be going to?
Well, for target, I use the 610 medium heavy moderate, right? Very accurate. You can get those square bills right up against the pilings or against wood. And once you get them buttoned up, because it has enough backbone with the heavy moderate, you can get them away from the cover really easy. If I'm throwing standard crankbaits in open water, or maybe I'm going down riprap, I'm looking at the 7.2 medium moderate. Again, very accurate, great for those square bills. And the nice thing about getting them buttoned up when you have a glass rod is that when they're shaking and trying to throw it, that glass is going with them. It's very forgiving.
Now, you mentioned also the chatterbaits. What is the action? What is it that's about chatterbait fishing that is driving more anglers to use a glass rod?
Well, it's because of the way that they take the bait, right? So they're seeing that moving bait and they're grabbing onto it, and what is happening is you're feeling it load the rod. Unlike a carbon rod where you feel it and you end up jerking it, a lot of times you can pull the bait away from them, right? With a glass rod, once you feel it, you don't jerk it, you just reel into it and then sweep that rod into them, and you get them every single time.
Good tip, good tip. Sounds like a great line, and we're looking forward to using it in 2020.
Well, enjoy your time on the water with it. We really appreciate you doing this.
All right, thanks, John.
Take care.
All right, appreciate it.